Hello everybody, welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division for the Drummer Links and the St. Patrick's Day Tournament here in Golf Clash. The game. Before we take a closer look at everything, make sure to hit the thumbs up button on the video. Also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that are looking to improve your game even more, you can find packages on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link is in the description down below. You can also scan the QR code here on the screen and you will go directly to the site, to the website that do have all our packages. You select one and then you move on from there. Follow the info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also with ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. So for hole number 1, the drive here, we're going to play with the quarterback as a driver, and the reason for that is that we do want to value accuracy and a good ball guideline, especially if we do have a tailwind or a crosswind. If we do have a headwind, we do recommend to go with an extra mile or Thor's Hammer or Apocalypse to give us more power. 3 topspin and as much left spin possible too. Ball guideline aiming down the center on the second fairway. Adjustment is maximum distance with a 10% elevation. Center the ball and hit perfect, and you can see that I'm playing with a katana here. You don't really need to play with a katana if you don't want to. You can play with a navigator or with a quasar. The problem with that though is that you're gonna have to use a little bit of left curl to compensate for not having 3 side spin as we have with the katana. Second shot, we are looking to do a rough bump. I know it looks strange. It looks like we are aiming at some that on the rocks, and that is what we're doing. But the rocks here on Drummer Links on hole number 1 here is acting like rough. So just don't be alarmed that it shows like rocks. It's unfortunate, like luckily for us, it is just a big rough patch. So we're gonna play 5% elevation with true club distance. What that means is that we're gonna check where maximum line are and where minimum line are, and then make a guess on what percentage of our club we are playing into. Center the ball, hit perfect, and you can see that I left the ball guideline to be slightly short of pin. This because I do not have a fully developed ball guideline and I don't want to come in too hot. Dead center drop here on hole number 1, and I would say that hole number 1 offers a very good chance for an eagle. When we are talking about the par 3s for Drummer Links here from front tee, you will hear me talk a lot about bad ball guidelines, because we're gonna play with a long iron every single time here on all the par 3s, and we're starting with hole number 2. And the reason I will focus on the ball guideline is because the ball guideline on a low level club is not going to help you anything. I'm gonna help you a little, but not as much as if you do have a Grizzly level 7 plus or a B52 level 7. I understand that not everyone is having that in rookie. I'm just trying you to picture yourself that having a bad ball guideline is going to make this shot on hole number 2 very difficult to consistently attack the pin on, because you're going to have to judge based on how you look at the direction of the ball guideline to see if you're aiming at the pin, and that's difficult for everyone. Now I'm getting this one left of pin, adjustment max plus 20. I'm using a little bit, I'm using all the left spin that I can, and then I will be using all from top spin to back spin depending on my wind angle. No matter what though, it will be a simple birdie, and you will have a chance for an hole in 1. However though, it's very tough to do that consistently. Hole number 3 is a tough par 5, and anything else than an eagle here is going to be a big bonus. We start with the quarterback here when we do have crosswind or a tailwind, because the thing here now is that we do want to get this ball to be as close to the rough line at the top on this first fairway. Adjustment max plus 10, and I'm using 3 topspin and a little bit of left spin together with that. Once I've adjusted max plus 10, I'm pushing up to max because once again, I do want to get as close to the rough line at the top. Those of you that has played the Drumo Links hole number 3 before know that you can play over to the right hand side. Unfortunately, I don't believe that's the best way to play, because it's still not going to offer you a better chance for the Albatross, and it's more going to offer you a tough drive, as not every club, especially when we're playing with lower level clubs, will have the curl enough to get the ball as far down the fairway on the right as possible. Now the second shot, we're gonna play up on this little fairway pad inside all the rough and sand here. We're gonna use 2 right spin and a little bit of top spin here. Minus 10% elevation is what we're gonna use, and we're gonna play somewhere between min and max line. And to be completely honest, it's gonna be more towards the max line than what it's going to be towards the min line. And that is something that I do think is very important to have in mind. Using a little bit of curl to straighten the ball out, and now in this instance we are very lucky getting this ball to drop for an Albatross. And I call this luck because having to use curl, have basically no ball guideline to follow, then it becomes a lot of luck. However though, if you miss the pin there, you will definitely sit yourself nicely for a putt for an eagle. Hole number 4 is another par 3, where if we go back to hole number 2, the ball guideline is going to be very important here, and as having a bad ball guideline will offer a big inconsistency in the result here. However, I would see hole number 4 to be probably the easiest of the par 3s to drop, if we can call it easy to drop a par 3. Adding 1.5 bar topspin, trying to have the ball guideline straight towards the pin. Medium distance with a 20% over adjustment, and as we're not in the need of having any side spin here, I'm using a Marlin to reduce the wind just slightly, but still played very cheap in terms of not spending any of the better balls. Center the ball and hit perfect. Bounces on the fairway over towards the green here, and we like how it zooms in like this. Maybe we can drop it. No, we cannot. We missed it left, and that's obviously, again, it looked like we were aiming straight at pin. It might be so that we are slightly off with our position, or we need to add more adjust. Unfortunately, that's very hard to know, because again, replicating this position that we're having is very tough to do. In the end though, it's a safe birdie, and that's something we can live with moving on to hole 5. Take your game to the next level with our ultimate tournament text guides. We are doing a guide for Pro, Expert and Master Division for the St. Patrick's Day tournament as per usual. We're updating for the wind changes in all the divisions, and most importantly, have in mind that it's a free entry, so it doesn't cost you any coins to enter. So we do recommend that those that do have the possibility play up on the division. Try a division higher than what you normally play, because that could give you maybe a way to get to the final round or to the weekend round to get yourself a better price just than what you're used to get. We are doing something new as well for the upcoming 18-hole tournament, where we will be going full with a live document to upload as we go with the shots for every hole. Make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen, or you use the link patreon.com/golf/Tommy in the description down below. Get yourself a package. We have something for each and every one. Sign up and do like more than 2,000 players has been doing monthly for years now to improve their game to the highest level. On hole number 5, we are going to use the quarterback to lay up short on the fairway. But first, I'm kind of thinking about maybe trying to cross the water. And just to have that said, that is a possibility. However though, you would have to have some decent clubs, meaning that the big topper in level 4, I would say, is somewhat minimum here to be able to then go max OP and get the ball to go over the water and possibly to green. But if we do play with lower level clubs and don't maybe have that many power 3, 4, 5 balls, then we're gonna have to just lay up here. And you can see here that I'm using a quarterback, and I'm actually playing with a Marlin, not with a Katana, because we don't really need more than a Marlin here, as we're not using much spin for the first shot, and we're not doing much spin for the second shot either, which obviously helps us to have being able to play with the Molly like this. So very simple drive, just straight up the fairway with max plus 10 as the adjustment. Second shot, we're gonna play a rough bump, and here it is important to check where maximum line are and check where minimum line are to give yourself a good guess on what club distance you have here for the second shot. Ball guideline here is going to have to be slightly short of pin, and the reason for that is due to the less developed ball guideline compared to those clubs such as the Sniper and high level long iron such as Grizzly and the B52. Ball guideline short of pin, no elevation, and then true club distance number. So this is going to be played very close to medium distance of our club. And then center the ball, hit perfect, and this is going to be a very good chance for a drop here on hole number 5. Bounce into the rough and it rolls out onto the green, and we get this one to drop dead center for an eagle on hole 5. For hole number 6, we are going to use the driver that gives us the most topspin possible, and here for me it's going to be the big topper. The drive that I'm going to play here now, it's more towards the aggressive side, and the reason I do want to show you a more aggressive drive, it's because if we're going to play this one ultra conservative, it's going to be maximum an eagle. I would say we have literally no chance for an albatross if we're going to lay up just short. Max plus 20, using all the topspin that I can, and I'm using a power 3 ball here to still keep it free to play, as we would like to call it. So no paid balls and no extra balls such as, the power 5 balls as a berserker, even though you can win it in the golden shot. However though, I would strongly advise you to, if you do have a possibility to play with a ball with more power, use that ball, because it will definitely help your drive to get a little bit further down the fairway. Second shot, here we can use a left spin and play on the fairway on the right and just land it on green, and just take the eagle and run. For those of you that do want to play aggressive, you can go for a rough bump. Important to have the ball guideline to go through the hole a lot, because otherwise it will slow down and it will miss the pin on the right hand side basically always. 10% elevation and true distance number, and once again I can't stress this enough that if you don't feel comfortable with an aggressive approach like this, just do what I said in the beginning of the second shot, to just play it safe, use a left spin and land it on green for a simple putt. Because even if we are playing aggressive, it's not that we're gonna drop this one all the time, but this is the much better chance to get this ball to drop for an albatross compared to having to go and bouncing on the fairway. Hole number 6 is gonna be a tough par 5 to get an albatross on, but I would say the eagle is fairly simple. Hole number 7 and the final of the par 3. Unfortunately, playing the rough bump there further up than what we are is very inconsistent, and I would say that this is a massive disadvantage for those of you that are playing from front tee compared to those of you that are playing from second and third tee, because the second and the third tee are positioned way more right. You can see the second tee there in the far distance, and then you have a different angle towards the rough bump and can therefore play into a massive funnel. But we can't do that from the front tee. We're going to have to play more to the left, and we're bouncing on the fairway to get over towards the green. And once again, we're playing with a long iron with a bad ball guideline, so it is impossible for us to know if we're aiming towards the pin every single time. Medium distance with a 10% over adjustment, and I'm playing this one with a basic ball, which you could technically have done on hole number 4 too. But here I'm playing with a basic ball. I'm not in the interest of spending any ball that it costs more, if I can phrase it like that. Medium distance plus 10. A little bit of backspin or topspin depending on what wind angle I'm having, and I'm using my backbone or whatever long iron that gives me the best ball guideline. For the final par 4 of the Drumore Links, we're gonna play hole number 8, and here we're gonna use as much topspin that we can on our extra mile. I would say this shot is designed for 4.5 topspin, but if you do have 6 bars of topspin, or I mean just 5 bars of topspin, that's going to be a little bit better. So please use all the topspin that you can use. Add the spins together with the right spin, and then ball guideline to be focused on being straight down the fairway on the left hand side. Max plus 10 is what I'm using, and now it is important to hit perfect because bad great balls to the left or to the right could put you in a position where you roll into the rough. It will still be a very safe way of getting the birdie, as you will then just land it on green, but you may forfeit the chance for an eagle. Getting it down the fairway, lovely, lovely, lovely. And then we do have a short iron towards the pin. Here I'm checking where max club are and where minimum club are, and seeing this one as approximately 60% of my club. And that's what I'm gonna use as club distance reference when I'm adjusting for my thorn. Using backspin enough to get the ball guideline to be just short of the hole. Have in mind that depending on what level you have your short iron in, it's going to be either to aim at the hole if you do have a thorn level 8 or 9, but thorn level 7 and below does not have a fully developed ball guideline, and then you need to leave it short, otherwise you will come in too hot. Bounces on the fairway up towards the pin, and we're dropping this one hard on the left side for an eagle, but it doesn't really matter how we drop it, just that it drops on hole number 8. Hole number 9 is going to be very tough because here I would consider an eagle to actually be, to be actually a drop, especially with lower level clubs. If you do have superior clubs such as a lot of topspin on the second shot, you will be having a massive advantage over your opponents. So max no elevation of the tee, we're using the quarterback, trying to just get this ball to be as far down the right corner on this first fairway. And I would say that it doesn't really have to be closer than this to still have a possibility to get close to green on the second shot, but the closer we get, the better it's going to be, because then we have a shorter distance to get this ball to pin. Second shot, you can see here that I'm packing the horizon. Here it doesn't matter what level of horizon you have, because the only reason I'm using the horizon is for all its topspin. So the goal here is that if I'm lucky having a good rollout, I will be rolling this ball onto the green, and then the downslope on the beginning of the green will take the ball down towards the pin. But if I'm not getting that, then it's going to be a wedge from distance, and that wedge is not going to be an easy one to play at all. And I would say, yeah, then you will see a lot of players missing that wedge, because that's what happens here now. And we're gonna obviously take a look at the wedge here so we can see that one in action. So what I would recommend, that if you do have a low level club wedge like this with a bad ball guideline, make sure to use a no spin here, trying to estimate your club distance. If you do have a club, do have a wedge with a good ball guideline, such as a 4.0 ball guideline or better, use all its topspin, back up to the beginning of the green, and let the ball roll down the slope towards the pin. That's going to obviously be a much easier wedge than the wedge that I'm playing here now. And you can see here that bouncing on the fairway, on the green, and I'm getting it, but I didn't feel comfortable with that at all. And you can just picture yourself how many players will miss that wedge, because again, it's not an easy one. A couple of extra things here about hole number 9, that if you do have club that can give you 7 bars of topspin or more, you can actually cross over the water. You would basically, if we take a look at the drive again, you will then have the first bounce where we are ending up with our ball by laying up. So we are bouncing over into the weird rocks on the other side, and that will basically play a little flipper game with the ball and roll out from the rough. However, though, you could definitely be stuck into by those rocks, so you're definitely taking a risk. So once again, everyone, there is aggressive way to play this hole here. It's very often not any value doing that, but hole number 9 will offer a fight for an eagle, and an eagle should be considered very good, as many of your opponent will finish this hole with a birdie. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this playthrough for Rookie division for the St. Patrick's tournament here in the year 2023. And as always, during St. Patrick's tournament in Golf Clash, we're playing the drummer links, and it's gonna be exciting. And make sure to get the guides on patreon.com/golfclashtom. You can also scan the QR code and you can go directly to our platform where you can see all the packages and find something that suits what you want to improve with when it comes to Golf Clash. Thank you so much once again for watching, and a massive good luck in the St. Patrick's Day tournament.